Well, Jackie, welcome to the Empower Network.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Copywriting for coaches. I'm super interested to talk to you about this personally. I'm not someone that calls myself a coach. I have dabbled in coaching myself, and but there's a lot of coaches in here who are gonna perk up, be like, okay, let's talk about copywriting for coaches. So, Jackie, Dan, you've been a copywriter that niches down or specializes in copywriting for coaches. Now, we're going to get into that story a bit, but before we do, does that cover what are the topographical things? So are we talking social media posts? We talking email autoresponders? We talking writing content for courses? Is it all of it, or what do you like to?
Well, I haven't written content for courses yet. What I basically do is an entire sales funnel strategy. So it's a sales page, it's email marketing, also Facebook ads or Google ads, things of that nature. Makes an entire flow and an entire picture, and it leads all the way down to attract the clients that actually align. So that's the way I write copy. I try to ask a lot of questions at the beginning so I can figure out what exactly their brand is all about. It's super important for the sorry, my son's making pizza back there.
Well, we can't hear him. We can't hear him.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's great.
I have little dogs fighting over there right now. You can't hear them.
Is that right?
They're tearing a teddy bear to nothing. It can't hear. So just go ahead.
Okay. Super. So I try to figure out what their brand is all about. If they don't know exactly, I help them with their voice, because it's gonna be their voice. It's not gonna be like some general coaching jargon. Let me see. Sorry, my things keep falling out here. Oops, I'm sorry.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Can
I ask you some questions? Because I'm super
curious. Yes, you may.
Okay. So for someone watching this, what is the payoff? So say I'm a coach. Someone watching is a coach. What is the payoff for having a copywriter write my sales funnel for those that don't either use a sales funnel or know what a sales funnel is actually for? What is the psychological advantage of having you or someone like you write the copy and in order to target the people? Walk us through that, because some people, 2 years ago, I was a beginner at this stuff. So if you can just take us through, why can't I sell it myself? How is a sales funnel with psychological, intentional copy written by a professional copywriter? What's it going to do for me, Jackie?
It's going to bring you more leads and more profits in the end. It just has to match your target audience. If you're speaking to, I don't know, women and men, from the age of 20 to 50, that's too broad of a span. You need to narrow it down to one specific target audience to focus on, because if you target everybody, you're not going to get anybody. So what I do is I interview the coaches. I ask them a million questions, and they can get pretty personal, because at the end, the client wants to know who's the person behind this coaching thing. They want to know exactly what is your personality. Can I trust you? That's a big issue. You need to build trust, and the only way you can do that is to present yourself authentically. Talk about a little bit about the personal issues in your life, what brought you to become a coach, and all that. If you don't have a story, then it's going to be a little hard to get the trust going there. So you have to start, from the beginning. It's got to do with storytelling. You have to keep them engaged. and not in a salesy way. I don't like writing salesy copy. For me, it's persuasive, but it's not salesy. It's authentic, and it's ethical. So it's basically telling your honest story, and slowly building up, and getting the customer engaged to where they're like, yes, you're the one that I want to be coached by, because I just totally identify with you. And that's basically what it is.
Aaron's agreeing with you. He says, ethical copywriting, that's great.
Yeah, non-douchey.
Great. That's a great way of saying it. So, okay, we're getting into story. And copywriting obviously has to encompass your story. And
yes.
Can we talk a bit about, Jackie, can we talk a little bit about story and why the emotions and the vulnerability of your story translate into believability, like, and trust, which ultimately can lead to sales? Can you talk a bit about why that's important?
Well, you really have to identify your client's problem. They have to be spoken to. If you're not speaking to what their problem is, or that they have the feeling that they're identifying with the problem that they're having, then yeah, you're not going to get them on board. So you have to really dig in and really find out what's going on inside their heads, so you can pull them in that way. That sounds kind of douchey, doesn't it? No, but yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of blacking out here a little bit. A little nervous.
No, it's okay to be nervous. Sometimes I get nervous doing these things too, because everyone might see it, and will I do something stupid? Will I burp on camera? And I've burped on camera and tried to cover it up. So it's okay. It's really okay, Jack.
All right.
Willie says, okay, the thing you're most afraid to write is this thing you need to write right from the heart. Wow, the thing you most need to write. I love that, because there's a lot of people that are scared of, they have a belief system, Dorothy would agree, that they believe, and I know you would too, they believe that vulnerability is bad. I've been telling my friends, vulnerability is power.
It is.
It is a place of power. And when you're telling your story, and I'd love you to give some examples of clients you've worked with, obviously in confidentiality, but just the overall. Yeah. What have you found as you've learned? You obviously coach them as you're doing this, because you're trying to work with them and coax out of them the things you need. Let's be bold, let's be brave, let's be authentic, because that translates. So if you can give us maybe a couple examples of people you've worked with that were a bit maybe shy, like Jackie, I don't know, should I say this? Could I tell them about my marriage or this or that, when I was whatever, overweight, or I was on drugs, whatever? Can you give us some examples of people that have chosen to jump and what resulted in their business?
Yes, exactly. Well, I worked with a mindfulness coach who really didn't know where she was going with her life. She was super successful. She was earning 6 figures as an executive. She was doing pretty well, but she was coming home. She was stressed. She was stressing out with her kids. She was stressing out with her husband. She just didn't feel happy, even though she had all this money, right? And she could basically buy anything she wanted, but she couldn't figure out why. So she decided just to quit it, quit her 9-to-5, and try out a million different things, playing guitar, doing art. And then she wound up coaching. She decided to study psychology, and she found this mindfulness practice. And so she started doing that, and she found that it was fulfilling her. So she could identify with a lot of people that were in her place, that were also executives, had everything they could dream of, but they were still not happy. So she figured out a way to help them through mindfulness, to bring them kind of down to earth and kind of center themselves so that they could figure out what's really important for their happiness. So she was able to identify through her story, and I was able to get a little bit more out of her so that the story had a flow and it was authentic, and so I think it's doing really well.
That's good you say that, because a lot of people, when they're telling their story, they're like, well, okay, what do I include? Where do I start? What's valid? What's not valid? So it must be nice to have someone like you who's walked many clients through this process, and you're obviously tracking things with conversions. So you know what is converting, what's not. Can we talk a little bit about that? The metrics and performance, because when you're having people hit your sales funnel, landing page is the same thing.
Right.
It's this long form. We've all been on these things, right? We click on something on Facebook or YouTube or whatever.
Exactly.
And it takes us, and it's like, it could be a physical or digital product, but it's like,
yeah,
it's like they all look the same. Jackie, why do they all look the same? There's like a subheading, and then there's some video of someone talking to me about some pain they used to have. And then what is that?
It's an entire form. I mean, there's so many different formats actually, but the one that I work with, it could be a short form or a long form, but it basically identifies the problem, maybe kind of nudges you towards what your problem could be. And then you say, hey, you turn around and say, hey, I totally feel with you. I've been there. I've done that. And this is what I've done. This is what I figured out to combat that. And then it pivots around to your actual business and a little bit of testimonials from previous customers. And then if you want to try this out, here you go. Here's the price, way at the bottom. So that's what most people do. They scroll all the way to, okay, let's see what this costs first. Okay, and then I'll read the rest. That's the usual process, I think. But that's usually how it goes. It has a certain process, and that's what all the questions are for, and that's what all the research is with existing customers and market research with competitors, and that all flows into a sales page.
And so
a lot of work.
You help them create all of that?
Yes.
All the copy for that. That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do that on their own.
It's hard. It's if you don't know quite what you're doing and you have to educate yourself. I think it's for coaches, it's kind of difficult. They want to concentrate on their business, and they want to be able to support their clients and everything, and trying to figure out all the marketing things and all the strategy is just taken away from their time that they could be using on their clients.
Well, it's two separate hats. It's someone said it. It wasn't me. Someone said it who has so much experience. I have some experience, but it's the sales and marketing hat versus your actual coaching practice. Your coaching practice, like you said, it's booking clients and having conversations. But the sales and marketing hat, you put that on, it's totally different. It's not the same as it's not the same as product creation, let alone coaching business. It's okay, so someone who has a coaching business, who's running no ads, no sales funnels, what can they expect, Jackie, when they engage with these things? So they're like, okay, I want to get a sales funnel, whatever that is. I want to get my business going. I want an autoresponder sequence so that when people come in, they're given a psychological process, a couple weeks of emails that's telling my story, letting them connect with me emotionally so they learn to like and trust me. And with call to actions throughout the email autoresponder sequence, that's 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. What do they expect? So say they're selling five programs a month. What can a properly created email autoresponder sequence that's attached to a sales funnel, what can it do for them? Let's say they have a pipeline where they're driving leads. So they're doing Facebook Lives, or they're in some form of network or something like this or whatever, where people are landing on there. They have a link they can send people to. And let's say they're sending 100 people a month to that link. What can a what can it do for them? $1, and end of the day, how much difference can it make in the profits?
Well, it's hard to say with the dollar amount exactly, but surely it can increase 5 to 10-fold their profits and their leads. So it can make a big difference. You know, if you're putting the right message out there that's speaking to the people that you're targeting, it can make a massive difference. So I think it's quite important to work with a professional so you get it done correctly. Because if you get some bad copy out there, that can kind of ruin you sometimes. And once it's out on the internet, yeah. So you got to be careful, you know, how you present yourself.
Can I ask you one more question about that then? If we're talking about good copy, how do we know if our copy's not good?
You'll notice that real fast through dropping sales and you know, maybe some customer I don't know, complaints, maybe not, but you'll notice the customers dropping off. In any case, your sales will dwindle.
Is there any tips you can give people that are watching who are like, oh geez, I don't actually know if I'm doing copywriting at all or properly? Or is there a little nugget or two you can leave them with so that they go, oh, okay, I hadn't thought of that whether it's something to always think of when you're doing copywriting or a certain perspective on copywriting that will just help make their life a little easier?
Well, definitely make it about your client. Make it all about your client and less about yourself. Of course, you have to present yourself, but you have to identify with their problem and not talk about yourself the entire time. That's a little bit of a turnoff, and they won't feel like they can trust you. They'll feel like it's all about you. So that would be the number one tip.
And we've seen that, right, Jackie? We've seen like when people are marketing themselves and it's like,
oh yeah,
they're just putting pictures of themselves up and
I'm just the best.
Yeah, it lands flat, and they may be well intending, but it definitely lands flat as opposed to someone that like, wow, they hit the pain points. Exactly. Well, is there anything you'd like to leave with people then? How can they get in contact with you? I will be tagging you in this, Jackie. Interview. Is there a website you have, or how do you like to?
Yes, I'm at donecopywriting.com.
Ooh, fun.
Fun.
Is that your last name?
Pun. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So DUNN copywriting, COPYWRITING.com.
Correct.
Fun pun. That's exactly. A fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it rhymes with done. So yeah, or they can write me an email at hello@donecopywriting.com. I'm also on Instagram at donecopywriting. So any of those forms, and LinkedIn, Jacqueline Dunn. So I'm easily found. And if anybody needs something like even a copy audit, if they have copy on their website already and they just want me to audit it to see if, you know, if it's proper copy that flows, I'm happy to do that as well.
Oh, that could be, yeah, that's a nice way of going. It's kind of like going to a trainer and going, okay, am I in okay shape for my age or for my whatever my goals are? Have someone else size you up and put you through the tests and go, okay, well, here's what we came up with. That's great. So if you watch this, if you've been watching Jackie Dunn on the Empower Network and this intrigues you, please reach out to her at Dunn, DUNN, copywriting.com. You can also reach her through the Facebook tag, which I'll put here as soon as this video is posted. Thank you, Jackie, for taking the time.
Thank you.
To walk us through the importance of copywriting and story, and for people new to that, what it is, how it works, and why is it even important? So thank you for explaining that, because there's people that, like myself, that are not experts in that at all. And we're trying to learn this stuff. So
well, I'm here to support.
That's beautiful. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching the Empower Network. Thanks, Jackie. We'll see you again.
Okay. Ciao.